Beneath the stereotypical image of homelessness live millions of invisible Americans, hidden by shame, cloaked in quiet desperation, sustained by unshakable faith. "40% of the homeless are families."
I actually grew up in an area outside of Birmingham that's very similar to Brentwood or Franklin here in Nashville. We were a very affluent family, and we were a very well-known family. We're actually the all-American family. But after college, I was a very young man making a lot of money. I guess it was about 11 years ago now that a larger insurance company bought the company I worked for. And I had a large enough nest egg, so I thought, to play around for a little while and find that perfect job that I needed, and I didn't have to worry about getting a job right away. Well, what ended up happening, because my debt load was already so high, I got into a phenomenal amount of debt load. I ended up at the Jimmy Hale Mission in Birmingham, Alabama. The first night I was actually in that mission, it had actually snowed, sleeted, and rained that night. And someone coming from over the mountain area and then sleeping in a shelter with people that were mentally ill and screaming, drug addicts and everything, it was something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
My name is Mary. I have two beautiful little girls. This is Kafala and here's Joyce. I love to cook. I love spending time with my children. I love reading, writing, and I love my job. Being homeless never really occurred to me until I really reached that point to like, hey, this is not working out. Where can I go?
Today in America, an estimated 1/3 of the homeless are women.
I've been working since I was 14. I mean, my background growing up was awesome. You know, I had really good parents, and I had there were 6 kids. My dad was the chief of the fire department in Cincinnati. I was a restaurant manager for 18 years, and working those kind of hours, and you know, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you know, it takes a toll on your marriage. And I was on my way to work on 65, and a kid from out of town was trying to get over to 40, so he swerved over to all the lanes. Well, he hit my truck, so I ended up in a ravine, and I was unconscious, and I have all kinds of injuries. I've had several surgeries, and totaled my truck, so I had no transportation. You know, I couldn't work, so I couldn't pay my rent. So that's how I ended up here. Because I used to think, how could people be homeless? They're just lazy. But I mean, it's a very humbling experience.
Before I came to Nashville, I was a nanny. I nannied for 25 years. It was a job I enjoyed. I loved it a lot. And most of my children grew up. So I quit because I really wasn't needed anymore, and it's hard to let go of the children you love, so you quit. I was hoping I could just find another job right away and go back to work. That didn't happen either. So I'm still homeless. I'm still looking for work. Yesterday morning, I discovered somebody had broken into my car, and they took my camera. Now, my camera's sort of special because when I had it, I could stop and see something and know how it would look on film and how it would look printed. And I always called it the window to my soul, because I could feel a lot of my personality and who and what I was in my pictures. It's kind of hard to be without a place of your own. wanted to not have things that were just so much a part of you when you grew up.
Nearly 30% of the homeless are honorably discharged veterans.
People think that homeless people don't work, or they're lazy, or they've given up. A lot of these people actually are just like everybody else. I mean, they just ran into hard times. A couple months without your mortgage, and all of a sudden you don't have a house. You're foreclosed on it. And you don't have a job, and you have to take care of your children. And sometimes these people have to split up with their families, and it tends to make them very hard and angry. It's funny, nobody would ever know this is down here. This is almost like third world. They're invisible, and that's the problem. We keep them invisible. And so we think because we can't see them, or if the Metro comes in and moves their camp, that they're gone, and they're not gone.
I had a son fall out of a tree and pass away when he was 10. That's what started it off. I had my home, I had my family. When he fell out of the tree and died in the front yard, I lost it. I couldn't even talk about it for like 3 years without crying, just busting out crying. It devastated me. I ain't been the same since then. I just got scarred, and I still haven't been able to figure out the scars that's going on. I have anxiety attacks over it sometimes. That I lose my train of thought. I don't understand it. I just hope to be able to get some help for it someday.
Many of the homeless are mentally ill, handicapped, disabled, or addicted.
When I relapsed, it was due to my medications. They were changing my medications. I'm bipolar. There were a lot of changes going on in my life. Relationship-wise, I had to move. Relationship ending. Job situation was changing for me, all of that. And that was my turning point, and that sent me back out on the streets. That's when I relapsed. My bipolar, I'm diagnosed bipolar 1, and I'm ADD as well. My bipolar, I stay on highs. I don't hit a lot of lows. So a lot of times people think I'm speeding or on something, and I'm not. I can drink a cup of coffee and mellow out. Caffeine mellows me out. It's hard to find the right medications. And then, a year after I became homeless, my TennCare was cut, so I could no longer take my medications because the kind of medications I take, Bridges to Care won't even cover them. So, that's really hard. It's hard. Plus I have health problems with the bipolar. I also suffer from high blood pressure and diabetes. And so, it was really hard when they cut my TennCare.
I've got a special prayer that I say every morning when I wake up. I say, thank you, dear Lord, for another day.
That's it.
Please make it a pleasant one.
What's that?
To help you out with your ministry. That's all I've got, but I'm willing to give it to you.
It's not what you see. It's what you don't see.